Hello, we are Group 4, and today we'll be going over Neupogen, a medication used to treat low blood neutrophils, or low white blood cell count, in patients following chemotherapy treatments or radiation poisoning. Our presenters today include Kristen Chen, who has 4 years of experience in the biotech industry as an R&D scientist, Lan Tran, who has 5.5 years of experience in quality assurance and market access, Aaron Boyer, who has 9 years of experience in the biotech industry as an R&D scientist and in business development, and Marielle Antwi Sonjen, who has 14 years of experience in compliance, communication, and project management. Our table of contents include first, an overview of our company and drug, followed by the research and development and regulatory approval of Neupogen, followed by the intellectual property, pricing and reimbursement, and wrapping things up with marketing and impact. We will now provide an overview of the company. Applied Molecular Genetics, also known as Amgen, with a presence in over 100 countries and regions, Amgen has been able to reach millions of patients all over the globe. Amgen currently has 18 FDA-approved drugs in 6 therapeutic areas, including cardiovascular disease, oncology, bone health, neuroscience, nephrology, and inflammation, all of which focus on the medicinal treatment where limited options currently exist.
Research and development. Neupogen is Amgen's second blockbuster drug discovery. In 1985, researcher Larry Zuza and his team of scientists discovered granulocyte colony stimulating factor, GCSF, by cloning. This discovery led to 6 years of work that went into Neupogen's approval by the FDA in 1991. Neupogen was the first filgrastim out on the market. By 2002, Amgen launched Neulasta, Amgen's improved pathway of Neupogen that lasted longer in the body. In 2015, Amgen launched their own body injector device, Neulasta Onpro, to enable ease of biologic administration. Finally, in 2015, Zarzio by Sandoz Pharmaceutical was approved by the FDA. This would be the first biosimilar for Neupogen. Regulatory approval. The clinical study design for Neupogen was multi-center, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial in patients with small cell lung cancer receiving up to 6 cycles of chemotherapy with certain prescribed cancer medication. The intent to treat analysis included 210 patients who were randomly selected to receive either placebo or Neupogen starting on day 4 after chemotherapy. 111 of the randomly selected patients received the placebo and 99 patients received Neupogen during the study. The primary endpoint of the study was the development of fever with signs of infection across the study duration. Secondary endpoints included use of antibiotics and duration of hospitalization. FDA approval. The FDA approved Neupogen with the indication for reducing the time to recover white blood cells and the reduction of fever after chemotherapy treatment. Prior to 2015, Amgen Neupogen had been approved for the use of several advanced cancer indications. Using a 21-day cycle of administration, Neupogen is recommended to be administered after 24 hours of chemotherapy. Patients stay on Neupogen up to day 17 of the 21-day cycle. If the white blood cell count for the patient after day 12 exceeds 10,000 cube millimeters, Neupogen administration should be discontinued. Patients with serious allergic reactions to GCSF should not be on Neupogen. Common adverse reactions are fatal sickle cell crisis and fatal splenic rupture, and patients are also advised to avoid any form of vaccines while on Neupogen.
Thank you, Muriel, for going over regulatory strategy. Now I, Kristen, will be going over intellectual property. So according to the USPTO and Orange Book, Amgen had one patent for the production of filgrastim, which expired in December of 2013. Since then, other pharma companies have introduced biosimilars under the Biologics Price Competition and Innovation Act, BPCIA for short, established in 2009. The first product to be passed under the BPCIA was coincidentally Zarzio, which obtained approval in 2015. Additionally, Pfizer obtained FDA approval in 2018 for Nivastim, the third biosimilar to achieve approval under the Act. Although not filed as a biosimilar, it's important to note that Granix is considered a competitor in terms of safety and efficacy. Amgen has taken an aggressive evergreening approach and has filed several lawsuits against biosimilars. In a settlement of patent litigation, Teva agreed in 2011 to refrain from launching its generic version of Neupogen until November 2013, right before Amgen's patent would expire. Teva had already sold its Neupogen version in Europe, but so far had only picked up about 5% of the market share there. The first lawsuit under BPCIA was Sandoz v. Amgen over Sandoz's biosimilar of Neupogen. The Supreme Court ruled for Sandoz, stating that a biosimilar applicant is not required to disclose its biologics license application. This ruling set the precedence in the entire pharmaceutical landscape and gave biosimilar companies significant power to influence litigatory outcomes and approvals. Shortly after the Supreme Court's decision in Sandoz v. Amgen, Adello Biologics announced that its biosimilar marketing application was accepted for review by the FDA. Adello informed Amgen that they did not intend to provide Amgen with the application or manufacturing information for the biosimilar, and at the same time provided a notice of commercial marketing. In March 2018, Amgen sued Adello for patent infringement, and the lawsuit is currently pending in the District of New Jersey.
Next, we're going to go over the pricing section. Before jumping into the true pricing, we wanted to go over a landscape of the current filgrastim family offered. Neupogen, which is manufactured by Amgen, was approved in April of 1998. Granix followed, manufactured by Teva, which was approved in December 2014. Zarzio, which is manufactured by Sandoz, the generic division of Novartis, was approved in March of 2015. Nivastim, which is manufactured by Pfizer, was the most recently approved in July of 2018. Zarzio and Nivastim are both biosimilars of Neupogen. However, Granix is not considered a biosimilar since there was no biologic license application completed since the FDA did not have an approval pathway at the time of Teva's FDA submission. Overall, when looking at efficacy, the four products are quite comparable when febrile neutropenia is the endpoint measured. All four products reduce the incidence of febrile neutropenia relative to the placebo. When looking at the side effects, all four products had the same 3 side effects listed first on their website, including spleen rupture, acute respiratory distress, and allergic reactions. Taking into account that both the efficacy and side effects are similar between the 4 products, the pricing is a different story. In looking at the wholesale acquisition cost, known as WAC, you can see Neupogen is the most expensive at $333.70 per 300 microgram prefilled syringe, followed by Granix, Zarzio, and Nivastim, which comes in at $219 per 300 microgram prefilled syringe, which is actually 52% less than Neupogen. Neupogen, as the originator, is the most expensive of its competitors. On average, Neupogen costs $300 to $350 per 300 microgram vial. If we estimate that a patient received a Neupogen injection every day for 1 week a month, this patient would need approximately 84 vials, costing almost $30,000 per year. Although Neupogen is priced the highest, they still have the most market share at 48%. Overall, biosimilars are causing the originator, in this case Amgen, to reduce their price and offer rebates, which also steals market share from the originator. In 2018, Amgen started to see their Neupogen sales decrease, over 34% in the year, as their net selling price had to be brought down in order to stay competitive. In addition, there was a decreased demand for Neupogen as biosimilars continued to be introduced. Now we will dive into reimbursement. Using the fingertip formulary, we took a small sample set of plans that included commercial, Medicare, and Medicaid to assess Neupogen's coverage. Overall, Neupogen tends to be covered under the medical benefit with restrictions such as prior authorizations, quantity limits, as Neupogen is a specialty product since it's an injectable. The prior authorization requires that specific clinical criteria be met prior to the approval of the prescription. Despite these restrictions, 78% of Medicare Part D and Medicare Advantage plans cover Neupogen. Since 2000, the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, known as NICE, has published 264 technology appraisals on cancer drugs. There are 327 individual recommendations on cancer drugs. They recommended the majority of cancer drugs, as 73% of recommendations on cancer drugs have been positive. Filgrastim has not been approved on the NICE list, as the evidence search portal in NICE for filgrastim determined it had a low value and a high cost. However, filgrastim is on the World Health Essential Drug List for cancer. The World Health Organization list contains the medications considered to be the most effective and safe to meet the most important needs in a health system. This seems contradictory that filgrastim would be on the World Health Organization list but not on the NICE list. So it is in the interest of Amgen as well as the other filgrastim manufacturers to encourage a reevaluation. Quality adjusted life years, known as QALY, is the primary measure of clinical benefit of comparisons across different conditions and treatments. The incremental cost effectiveness ratio, ICER, is a statistic that summarizes the cost effectiveness of a healthcare intervention. It is defined by the difference in cost between two possible interventions divided by the difference in their effect. It represents the average incremental cost associated with one additional unit of the measure of effect, in this case, QALY. For context, the QALY and ICER scores I'm going to go over are relative to patients with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. For the first scenario, the QALY was related to the impact of the difference in febrile neutropenia risk on febrile neutropenia-related mortality. The QALY score was 8.08 with an ICER of $5,476 per QALY. In the second scenario, the QALY was relative to the differential impact on the dose intensity to long-term survival. The QALY score was 6.89 with an ICER score of $2,029 per QALY. For alternative payment methods, we decided to highlight patient assistance programs, as Amgen is dedicated to helping their patients get on drug through various access and reimbursement tools on their website. Medicare patients can use Amgen Assist for referrals to independent copay foundations such as the Patient Access Network Foundation, Patient Advocate Foundation Copay Relief, and the HealthWell Foundation. The Amgen First Step program helps eligible commercially insured patients pay for their out-of-pocket prescription costs, including deductible, coinsurance, and copayment. Amgen also has the Safety Net Foundation, which is a nonprofit patient assistance program sponsored by Amgen that helps qualifying patients access Amgen medicines at no cost. Finally, we're going to go over the marketing and wrap-up section.
Amgen prides itself as responsible and informative when marketing itself, its products, services, and related information. Their current primary target market segments include oncology and arthritis, suggesting that strategies involve reaching older patient populations and focus on direct treatment or secondary side effects of common primary treatment options such as chemotherapy. Physician education involves all product pages providing options for healthcare providers and most direct healthcare provider traffic to specific pages that contain more detailed and relevant prescribing information for physicians. The company maintains collaborative relationships with healthcare professionals, and in order to develop new products, it determines the appropriate and beneficial uses for products, supporting medical research and other educational, scientific, and charitable activities. It also provides healthcare professionals and public with information regarding the benefits and risks of Amgen's products. They obtain feedback and advice about Amgen products from physicians and medical experts. They have also established mandatory standards that all staff members, consultants, contract workers, and temporary staff must follow when interacting with healthcare professionals and other customers. Amgen has voluntarily adopted the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America and strengthened its guiding principles on direct-to-consumer advertisements about prescription medicines, with changes going into effect this year on April 15th. All product pages contain direct payment options and/or references to co-payment plans to provide greater transparency for interested patients. Amgen offers two sites for Neupogen, and when navigating through the product page on the website, users are provided the option of choosing either the patient or the healthcare provider web pages. Differences can be seen with the content and visuals targeting different stakeholders while maintaining their goal of being responsible and informative by placing a large amount of product information on both the pages for both patients and physicians to retrieve as much information as possible. Marketing content for the three main competitors visually look rather similar, displaying softer images of patients presumably going chemotherapy, and messaging is centered around helping the patient fight the infection during the process.
Thank you, Erin, for going over marketing. So Neupogen sales make up about 1% of Amgen's total revenue for the most recent fiscal year. Similar to other pharma companies, Amgen depends on 7 blockbuster drugs for the majority of its revenue. The drug is also sold by various Amgen competitors, the patent having expired in December of 2013. Amgen's version cost $320 for a 300 microgram syringe, and the company sold about 4.6 million such doses last year. Additionally, Amgen's First Step program encourages drug purchases through helping commercially insured patients pay for their out-of-pocket prescription costs. Neupogen is a classic example of the strategies and pharma trends we have learned about in this course. Sales dropped 33% after 2013 with the onset of biosimilars, but Amgen cleverly held onto the filgrastim market share via Neulasta, their long-acting version of Neupogen, which was approved and released in 2006, 7 years before Neupogen's patent would expire. There are no current biosimilars for Neulasta. Drug sales for Neupogen has steadily been declining, and Amgen has since then turned their focus towards oncology, most recently presenting their innovative BiTE technology at a conference earlier this year, which is engineered to target any tumor antigen expressed by any type of cancer. On behalf of Team 4, thank you for coming to our presentation.